And I'm off. I'm off to the Launceston Market. Check out the stunning weather I've got for this drive from Triabunna up to Launceston. So I'm on my way to Grindelwald tonight. I was staying with my dad. And so I go up to Swansea from Triabunna and check out the view. I love this little drive. It takes about 40 to 45 minutes, depending on how fast you go around some of these corners. But it is stunning. On a day like today, it's amazing. I love, in particular, the view when you come up past Mayfield Winery, and I've kind of tried to show you it here, but it is just stunning. And if not only are their wines great, but when you can sit on their deck and have a look at the view and drink their wine, it is one of your best days you'll ever have in Tassie. So let's keep driving and I'll see you at Bump-In. I didn't obviously have to make a lot of product for this market because the stuff that I had made for the last market didn't sell. So I did replenish a couple of the wristlets and pen holders, particularly in the navy blue colour and the white colour. But what I did do was add some new products. So I found this great fabric at Spotlight, which was bright pink, bright greens, and had flowers. So I've got a watermelon Christmas trees, I've got the bright pink gingerbread, and I've got the Christmas floral cockatoo print, all from Spotlight. So I've turned them into wristlets and I've turned them into pen holders. I was hoping that they would sell really, really well. Because coming up to Christmas, who doesn't want them? And they were schmickers. I made these to the best quality that I've made any of these pen holders. So I thought, these are definitely going to sell. Also had a few other Christmassy things that I had already planned to do prior to the last market and working out what would sell and what wouldn't. I held them off for the spring market because I thought if they sell out, I won't have anything for the Christmas market. But after this Launceston market, I probably could have taken them to Hobart, wouldn't have been a problem. This is much different vibe than the spring market. It's like a vehicle entry. I don't know what's happening. So let's find out, I guess. So Bump-In was interesting. I did not realise that I needed a vest. So I needed a high-vis vest. This apparently was an email that was sent just a couple of days before the event, and I turned up without a vest and they were not going to let me in to do my Bump-In. Luckily, Hilltop Handmade, a fantastic jewellery and knife company. Oh my God, their knives are so beautiful. I hope one day to have one. But luckily, they lent me one of their high-vis vests for the Bump-In. So I actually had to drive onto the Silver Dome. So that was a bit of a weird experience because for me as an ex-basketballer, driving on a basketball court seems to be blasphemy for me, but I did it along with every other market stall holder. And then my actual setup time took a lot longer than I expected. So after the last market where I kind of was set up within an hour, this one took a little bit longer. I think mainly because I had this extra Christmas stuff. So everything fit perfectly on the table at the casino a month ago, but today wasn't as amazing. So it's a little bit more cluttered than I would like, but it still is showcasing everything. So hopefully it draws some customers in, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully it's a busy day. Merry Christmas! So as you can see, this market was a lot busier than the casino one. There are people, particularly on Saturday, people were streaming in and out of the place. But weirdly, Saturday I didn't have as many customers as Sunday. Sunday people were there to buy. The Saturday people were there more to have a look. I had a visit from my dad, so that was really nice because he kind of didn't mention that he was going to come. I was hoping he would, but he kind of didn't say, oh, where's your stall or what how many people are going to be there, where do I park, like none of those questions he would normally ask. So I wasn't sure if he was actually going to show up, but he did. So that was nice. It was a good distraction, particularly because it was Saturday and no one was really buying anything. But overall, I think I've done pretty well. So I enjoyed it. I had a great 2 days, lots of laughs, talked to a couple of extra stall holders, the gluten-free people next to me and the jewellery people 2 down. They were great. And of course my Kitchiku people were hilarious and fun as ever. Here I am, all packed up. Everyone is this way, all packing up, doing their lots of high vis. I did have my high vis, Dad lent me one, so I've finished that off pretty well. It only took me half an hour to pack up today. It was a lot busier than the Rest Point market, however, still not very big on sales. Better on sales, but still not amazing. Lots of people walking past looking, oh, that's cute, that's so cute, I love that, and then they walk away. So I'm not really sure what the barrier is because I think my price point's good. I added some 2-for-1 deals this time, so there were a few people who picked up a couple of those, but not in the ones that I had added. So a lot more sticker sales. Oh, the pen ones, the pen 3 for $12, that was a much better seller. I had a few more sales with that. But all in all, not too bad. I am really now looking forward to seeing what the Hobart Christmas one will do, because I think with Salamanca Market on the Saturday, as well as our market, which is right next door to Salamanca, and then also having there's a big cruise ship coming in on the Sunday, so that should help boost those sales as well. And also where the market is a real tourist area, so it's the first week of December. There's a cruise ship, there's the regular Salamanca markets, which are world famous, so hopefully it should then pick up again. So we'll see, but great news, I have paid for today's table, or this weekend's table, and I've also covered my costs from last market's table. I don't think I'm really hitting profits yet, but I will shortly go through that after I've gone home and added things up and done it properly. But I do know I've paid for 2 tables, so I'm happy about that. And that's kind of a benchmark, I think. If I can pay for the table, then I've started going in the right direction. So now let's head to future Anita, who can give you more information, who's not as tired as this Anita. So here I am for my end of market recap. It's been a week since I did the market and I left Launceston. I was exhausted after it, absolutely trashed. So I stayed an extra night at my dad's house and just like chilled out, had a kebab that I don't get to have in Tri Butter, and then kind of moseyed home. Dropped in at a great bakery on the way home at Launceston called Bread and Butter. Oh my God, the croissants are to die for. So if you're a Tassie person and you're looking for a great croissant, they are sensational. So get onto those. But anyway, I digress. So I think the market was, for me, really good. The reason I think it was really good is because it gave me a bit of confidence. So if you had seen my recap of the casino markets a couple of weeks ago, you'll have seen that that market was good because I got to kind of get the lay of what a market's like, you know, sort things out like how to use my square and what a bump in is and what a bump out is and how much time it takes for those kind of things. But this market killed it for the confidence I have in the products that I'm making. Not all of them, but for some of them, they've really gone gangbusters, and I'm really happy about that. And it kind of made me feel like, well, maybe I could do this every now and then. I am becoming more and more confident that this is not something I want to do with every weekend of my life. I think maybe these kind of once in a couple of months or once every now and then kind of markets might be my thing, because I do enjoy it, but I don't think I could maintain having a job and going to markets as well. And also, I think the novelty of it would wear off for me really quite quickly. I I'm very bright, very bubbly while I'm there, but once it's over, I just, like I said, I was shattered because this constant, hi, how are you? Oh yeah, yes, I make everything myself. Oh, thanks so much. Have a great day. That kind of thing for 12 hours on a weekend is massive, especially as a teacher who has to have that social connection with students. And I only work 3 days a week, but it's still a lot of social connection when you've got to talk to them and, you know, lead them and teach them and all of those things and kind of get them to do things that sometimes they don't want to do. And then to go on a weekend and go, oh yeah, and by the way, guys, I'm so bright and bubbly and I'm so happy. So I think that's the decision I've come to. I enjoy it, but I don't think I could enjoy it doing it more often than a couple of times a year. So that's one thing that I've learnt. The big boost for me was how much I made. So after the first day, I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to cover the cost of the table. And I thought that was going to be pretty fantastic just to begin with, because if you remember before, I was minus $91.31 after the last market. So I thought if I could at least cover the cost of my table for this one, I'd be happy. And I thought, yeah, that's about as good as I'm going to get. And then Sunday came and it wasn't as busy. So the foot traffic was less. But for me, the number of people who were willing to spend money was more. So my neighbours, Kitchiku Designs, they didn't have the best market. So it was a little bit tricky for me because I was kind of getting a little bit buoyant on the Sunday, but they were not happy because it wasn't the market for them. The people who were purchasing on the Sunday weren't buying pieces of jewellery and things like that. They were there to buy those little nicky-nacky things that I sell, or the stationery stuff, or any of that kind of stuff that they can give to people for Christmas. And the number of times that I said things like stocking stuff, oh, great stocking stuffer, lots of people went, oh yeah, and then they bought stuff. The other thing I had a lot of success with, and I think that's going to lead to a little bit of a evolution in what I'm trying to sell, is I'm really popular with the kids. I did not set out to do that. I don't have kids myself, so I don't really, apart from being a teacher, I don't have that understanding of what kids or children would like, but they gravitate to my table. They particularly gravitated to my table in Launceston. The pink, the bright yellows, they just drew lots and lots of kids to that table. And unfortunately, a lot of my stuff, even though it's that bright and fluorescent kind of colouring, then the content of it is not as kid-friendly as it probably could be. So I think that's what my next step is going to be. I'm going to try a little bit for the next market, which is in a couple of weeks' time in Hobart. I'm going to create I'm just going to start with sticker packs, because I think the sticker packs is what's going to really test those waters. So the Christmas sticker sets that look like this, they started selling particularly on the Sunday, some to some adults, but lots of kids were picking them up and looking at them, and they really liked the holographic component of it. But they were Christmas, so it kind of didn't really jump to them. So I'm thinking maybe if I can still sit in that realm of trying to still sit in that food and plants and nature and that kind of stuff, but make it a little bit more kid-friendly. So things like butterflies and insects. I had a few boys come up to the stall and then walk away, because a lot of my stuff is female driven, I guess, a bit more girly. So I thought maybe I really need to kind of switch a little to make something a little bit more masculine, but still I don't want to get away from those bright colours. So maybe some insecty kind of things, and I don't know, stuff like burgers and things. I don't know. I still haven't really thought it through. I've had a real week of just like, so I haven't pushed any further. I've just had those thoughts as I was driving home of how I could improve it. The other thing I don't want to do is add too many more products to my table. I want to see if I can get rid of as much of the stock that I have now. The acrylic bookmarks, not selling at all. I sold a couple of plant signs, these ones here that I really love, and I sold 2 of them, so I was so happy about that. And I also sold 2 of the acrylic to-do lists as well, so that was really cool because they were looking like no one was buying them. My big seller was pens. Finally. I couldn't understand at the casino why no one was buying the pens, but I just don't think it was the group for that. And also I changed my pricing on something. So with the pens, I went from $5 pens to $5 pens plus a 3 for $12 deal. And I sold a few of those, and I hate upselling, and I hate when people try and upsell to me, but I did it. I bit the bullet, and I kind of sold some extra pens because of it. So again, it's only an extra $2, but it's just that little bit of confidence and a little bit of moving the stock, because when you leave your market and you're putting everything back that you just got out, it's a little disheartening. But this time I could, even though I still had a fair bit of stock left, I could see that I'd sold things. So yeah, pens were my biggest seller. This time the pen holders and the wristlets weren't as lucrative as they were at the casino. So at the casino market, lots of people bought wristlets and lots of people bought the pen holders. At this one, they didn't so much. The Christmas stuff didn't sell. Christmas stickers on the Sunday, I sold about 4 packs of those. I think I sold 1 or 2 ornaments, but my beautiful, and they're just like the best made product so far because I've been able to practice my sewing and stuff like that. But the Christmas pen holders and the Christmas wristlets, not a single one. And it was so sad because I really like them and I love the fabric. Lots of people talked about how much they love the fabric, but I don't know if it's because people see Christmas things like that, you can only use it at Christmas time, so we're not going to buy it. I don't know. My partner has suggested maybe I make all of the wristlets the same price and do a 2 for, because I did the Christmas ones as $10 or 2 for $17. Maybe if I did all of them as 2 for $17, and same with the pen holders, maybe that, because then people can chop and change a bit, so they might get a Christmas one and they'll get a regular one. So I'm going to try that that little bit of marketing, I guess, a little bit of pricing. So I'm going to try that out for the next one. But I know you're all here for the money and you want to know my numbers. So over the course of the 2 days, I sold $520 worth of product. Oh my God. That was amazing. At the end of the first day, I was at $190, and I thought, well, if I can get another $190 day, I'll be at $380. I'll have paid for my table and I'll make a little bit extra. But at $520, I've actually paid off the $91 from the last market that I was down on the table cost. Now, I'm not talking at all in terms of product, in terms of the, the acrylic blanks and the, we're not talking full profit. I'm not talking about how much time it took me or anything like that. I really just thought, if for these first couple, if I can sell the money, make enough money to cover my table costs, then, the other stuff, I buy blanks that are quite cheap, and most of the product that I've got, I've spent, I don't know, maybe $400 or $500. So if I can cover, the tables cost more than the product. So $520. So I've covered the $91.31 from the last market. I also then covered the cost of my table, which was $250 again. And so I am ahead $178.69 so far, table-wise. So I reckon I have, paid off about half of what I've spent on blanks and on sticker paper and laminate and that kind of stuff, magnets. So I'm kind of halfway there to actually, I hope at the next one, I might actually make a little bit of profit. Ooh, who would have thought? So where do I go from here? As you're watching this one, I've got my next Christmas market next week. So that's going to be my final market for 2025. It's in Hobart and it's at PW1. Now, the reason I'm quite excited about at least the foot traffic is because it's right next door to Salamanca markets, which are famous, like nationwide kind of famous. People come to Hobart to go to those markets. And in December, when the tourists have started coming, they are busy. They're not as busy as in the January holidays, but they are busy because people are starting to do their Christmas shopping. So the locals are there. Plus you've got tourists coming. So that's one thing. So that's going to be the Saturday. And I hope that the traffic that goes to the Salamanca market will then just hop next door into it's a massive building. It's called PW1 or Prince's Wharf. Hopefully they just duck next door and they'll come in to that market. Then on the Sunday, there's a massive cruise ship coming in, and the cruise ships dock just up from in Constitution Dock, which is about 4 wharves up from the place we've got the market on. So I hope that those people then filter in as well. So in terms of foot traffic, my hope for the organisers, for my market friends, for myself, is that people turn up. And over the past few years, they have turned up to this market. People have turned up, and I couldn't tell you if they spend money, but they definitely turn up. And I think that's half the battle, is getting people there. The crowd at this one was pretty good. Like I said, Saturday was much busier than Sunday, but Sunday people were willing to spend money. So I'm hoping that we get a combination of both for both days at the next one. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. I did enjoy it. I did get to the end of it and go, yeah, okay, that was pretty fun. So I hope the next one is just as good. So I hope you've enjoyed watching how I went at the Launceston markets. I plan to, at the next one, hopefully do a little bit more filming. I know I said I would do that in the last one, but I maybe have just that little bit more confidence. Now that I know that people are selling, and if there is a lot more people there, I can kind of hide the camera a little bit more. I've just purchased my own, a new portable phone tripod. So it just kind of sits on there. It's a bit more inconspicuous. So we'll see how we go. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's wrap up of my Launceston Christmas Market. And I can't wait to see you next week for another Cricut tutorial. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget, you can always jump on my Instagram, head over to my Etsy store, or even check out the videos YouTube recommends for you down below.